I was infatuated with the beauty of the aloof veterinarian and ran off to be his dog. I thought he didn't know I was human. It wasn't until I was pinned to the bed and signed the pet contract that I realized. I may not be human, but he is definitely a dog. 01. A new pet hospital opened at the entrance of my community. The prices are reasonable, and the medical skills are excellent. The key point is that the doctor is stunningly handsome, breathtakingly so. All the sisters who usually walk dogs together are ecstatic. As a result, a group of people went out in high spirits and returned covered in dirt. They said that Dr. Yi is handsome, but his temper is not very good. I shrank my neck and patted the furry head beside me, feeling a bit dejected. He has a bad temper. Let's not go. The furry one disagreed and gave me a disdainful glare for being so spineless. I am the typical person who has the desire but lacks the courage. But the dog I raised is not. It should be known that this dashing German Shepherd girl has a greatest hobby of watching handsome guys. And she is the type who would throw away anything for beauty. So, on a stormy night with thunder and lightning, she resolutely ran towards the speeding electric bike. 02. I held the 70-pound furry creature, crying uncontrollably, and rushed into the pet hospital. Doctor, please save it. At that moment, I looked like a drowned rat, with my makeup smeared all over my face, and my body covered in mud and blood. There was also a wound on my left knee from falling twice on the way here, which was quite a sight to behold. Yi Cheng was getting ready to finish work. Seeing this scene, he took off the half-worn coat. He swiftly and steadily took the furry creature from my arms. I couldn't care less about admiring the rheumated face, I was so nervous that my legs were shaking. After a moment, I heard him let out a sigh of relief. The right hind leg has a minor skin injury, the internal organs are fine, and there are no fractures. I collapsed on the ground, exhausted, my voice trembling. But it was just convulsing, it looked in so much pain. Yi Cheng glanced at Mao Mao's belly, his eyebrows twitching slightly. It must have eaten too much and choked. I looked at Mao Mao, who was happily nestled in Yi Cheng's arms, so angry that my hair almost stood on end. How dare you, shameless girl. You really go to great lengths, just to see a handsome guy. Yi Cheng was treating Mao Mao's wound, not lifting his head, and pointed to the table beside him. Fill out the information form. I wiped my face and got up from the ground. With trembling hands filling out the form, she finally had the leisure to sneak a glance at Yi Cheng. Ouch, this leg, sigh. Ouch, this waist, sigh. Ouch, this face. I hadn't even wiped my drool before I was frozen in place by Yi Cheng's piercing gaze. His voice was cool, what's wrong? Is the information sheet on my face? I obediently withdrew my gaze and pouted. Whoa, so fierce, what's wrong with looking at someone so handsome for a moment? 03. After treating the wound, Yi Cheng picked up the furry one and placed it back on the examination table, then sat back down at the table. His long, fair hand picked up the information sheet and glanced over it. Meeting Yi Cheng's strange gaze from behind his golden-rimmed glasses, I weakly lowered my hand, trying to regain some dignity. Ahem, I am Woof Mao Mao. It's really not my fault for being useless no matter how many years pass, facing doctors and teachers. The pressure of bloodline always exists. Yi Cheng raised his finger to lightly push up the glasses on his nose, his voice suppressing a sigh. The information form needs to be filled with the pet's name. After a moment of silence, I looked at Mao Mao, and Mao Mao looked at me. I pointed to the well-behaved German Shepherd sitting beside me. Its name is also Mao Mao, if it takes the owner's surname, we share the same name. Yi Cheng stared at me for 2 seconds and bent down to pet Mao Mao's head. In a gentle tone, Mao, cough, you need to be good. And you can't lick the wound when you go back. Mao Mao rubbed against his big hand with a look of intoxication. I watched from the side and suddenly felt a bit envious of my dog. Looking forward, Dr. Yi's gaze finally shifted to me. I instantly stood at attention. He reined in his smile, his brows slightly furrowed, and his voice was cold. The normal weight for a German Shepherd is 2,232 kilograms, while Mao Mao currently weighs 76 kg. Obesity can lead to diseases such as heart and joint problems. Miss Wang Mao Mao, do you understand the seriousness of this matter? I was speechless and glared at the culprit. All I saw was the greedy dog looking innocent. My gaze slowly moved to the big hands covering Mao Mao's ears. How? Is he afraid that Mao Mao will hear him say it's fat and hurt its self-esteem? What about the broken heart of that dog Mao Mao? Isn't anyone going to take care of this? 04. I limped out of the door. Holding Mao Mao with my left hand and the umbrella Dr. Yi gave to Mao Mao with my right hand. That's right, it's for Mao Mao. He said, its wound cannot get wet. I looked down at the wound on my knee and walked into the pouring rain with grief and anger. Beauty cannot be moved, and long legs cannot be bent. I, Wang Mao Mao, will never step into this pet hospital again. 05. Early the next morning, I stood at the entrance of the pet hospital. Yi Cheng, who came to open the store, looked surprised when he saw me. His eyes were gentle as he rubbed my head with his large hand. What are you doing here by yourself? With teary eyes, I opened my mouth and let out a crisp dog bark. Woof. 06. Last night, after a thunderous roar, I woke up from the doghouse. I rubbed my face with my paw, thinking it was just a dream. However, when I woke up again and looked at the familiar yet enormous furniture, I realized the reality. I really have turned into a dog. Oh no. I admit, there was a moment yesterday when I wanted to transmigrate into a dog. But is it really necessary to speak it into existence? Can my dreams of winning the lottery and hiding as a rich second generation be settled first? After lying in the doghouse and thinking deeply, I finally accepted my fate. Life is always full of many disappointments. But dogs still have to live strong. I touch my flat belly. I remember the moment yesterday when I was nestled in Yi Cheng's arms, looking completely enchanted. I walked towards the pet hospital that I swore I would never step into again. Where I fell, I will lie. I'll just go ahead and experience the feeling of being loved by a handsome guy. If I remember correctly, I saw a lot of delicious food in the store yesterday. He is a kind-hearted doctor. He wouldn't ignore a poor little thing like me with an empty stomach, would he? 07. I feel that I actually have a bit of talent for being a dog. I originally just wanted to beg for some food, but unexpectedly, just by rubbing against Yi Cheng, I gained a home. Wait here, don't move. He picked me up and placed me on the sofa, then went to get the first aid kit. I reluctantly pulled my paw back from his chest muscles and smacked my lips. Dr. Yi really is quite the hidden talent. It's a pity that such benefits can only be enjoyed by animals. What a waste. Yi Cheng knelt beside the sofa to tend to the wet bandage on my right hind leg. When his gaze fell on my left leg, his beautiful brows furrowed. Is the furry one mistreating you? Yi Cheng applies medicine to my wound, feeling a bit heartbroken. Last night my left leg was just fine, but after one night, I have a new injury. I didn't expect her to be this kind of person. If I had known, I wouldn't have been so nice to her. Dr. Yi, do you have some misunderstanding about being nice? Anne, is it possible that this injury is my own, Woof Woof's injury? I was annoyed and waved my paw, grumbling. Yi Cheng lovingly pulled me into his arms. His big hand gently patted my head. Poor little thing, you must have escaped, because you couldn't stand it anymore. I looked at him with a face that said, don't cry, I understand. She couldn't catch her breath and kicked him with her leg. You don't know anything. 08. Yi Cheng waited in the store for 3 days. Waiting for the dog Wang Mao Mao to have a conscience and come find her. The result is predictable. It's hilarious, she couldn't wait at all. He would never have thought that the person he was waiting for was currently lounging on his sofa, with his homemade cookies in her mouth. She was watching SpongeBob with great enjoyment. I have to say, being a dog is quite nice. No need to work, no need to do housework, no need to pay various loans. Eat well, sleep well, play well. The most important point is to eat handsome guys tofu openly. Abusing and abandoning pets, such people are not worthy of being human. I snuggled in Yi Cheng's arms, freshly bathed, shaking my head and tugging at the collar of his t-shirt. After these few days, I think I understand. He talks bad about the fluffy ones, what does it have to do with me? I'm just a clueless little dog. Yi Cheng's gaze towards me changed from anger to an incredible gentleness. Good girl, get off me, it's time to sleep. I stopped my paws, eager to catch a glimpse of spring. After hesitating for a moment, I turned around and jumped onto his big bed. I slept on the sofa for 3 days, and my back and waist are sore. Today, no matter what, I want to share a bed with Yi Cheng. Yi Cheng was stunned for a moment and then smiled helplessly. I really can't do anything with you. 09. It was late at night, and I lay in bed. The refreshing mint scent from Yi Cheng lingered at the tip of my nose, and I couldn't fall asleep no matter how I tossed and turned. He seemed to be tired, and soon I heard the sound of his light and steady breathing beside me. I quietly opened my eyes and looked at his profile. Her eyelashes are long, and her jawline is distinct. How can someone look so good even when they're asleep? I couldn't help but lean in and nuzzle my head into his neck. Why does it feel a bit strange? I grabbed a strand of long hair that had fallen on his chest and stared at it for a long time. It's not a furry paw, it's a hand. It's not short, coarse fur, it's hair. Have I turned back into a human? I jumped out of bed and ran to the full-length mirror. Familiar face, familiar body. I hugged the full-length mirror with tears in my eyes, marveling at how kind fate had been to me. Now that I have turned back into a human, I need to leave here quickly. If Yi Cheng finds out, given his current impression of me, he might just send me straight to the police station. Thinking this, I stealthily grabbed a small cookie from the table and rushed towards the front door. Why is it still locked? What kind of broken door is this? Why is it so hard to open? In my fluster, I heard Yi Cheng's low voice coming from the bed. Mao Mao. I stood frozen in place, my mind filled with tomorrow's headlines. Surprise. A young woman turns into a dog just to do this. Boys must protect themselves at home. Last night, our city experienced a shocking home invasion and assault. I couldn't help but feel a wave of sadness. It's over, all over. However, the scolding I expected did not come. I turned to look and saw Yi Cheng still lying on the bed with his eyes closed, his brow slightly furrowed. Could it be that he was just disturbed by the sound of the door opening? I dared not move again and crouched by the door. Just wait a moment. Once he falls asleep, I'll find a chance to run out. Waiting and waiting, I closed my eyes. I went to see the King of Dreams. 10. The next morning when I woke up, I was back in bed, held by Yi Cheng. I wasn't packed up and thrown out, nor was I taken away by the police. Because I had turned back into a dog. Being a dog is just being a dog. Staying at Yi Cheng's place like this is quite happy. He is handsome, treats me well, and moreover, his cooking is exceptional. Simply a perfect master of the 24 filial pieties. I sat at the dining table, eagerly waiting. He's coming, he's coming. He walked over with delicious food. Wait. What is this thing on it? I stared at the light salad in the bowl, sighing gloomily. Yi Cheng looked over at the sound. He raised an eyebrow and said, "Are you not even eating salad now?" Because I refused to eat dog food, Yi Cheng tried various ways to cook for me for several days. Just when I thought good days had come, I didn't expect it to be the end. I jumped down from the dining chair. sitting by the window, looking mournful. I know in my heart that Mao Mao is overweight, and Yi Cheng wants to help me lose weight. But why am I, Wang Mao Mao, the one suffering this fate? I sulked, drooping my ears and gazing out the window. Yi Cheng was silent behind me for a few seconds, then turned back into the kitchen. When he came out again, he was holding a plate of small cakes. Trying to please me, here, strawberry flavored, your favorite. Hey. I knew he couldn't do anything to me. But I had to maintain my composure, and let him know the seriousness of abusing me. I twisted my body and tilted my head to the side. Are you angry? Really not going to eat? Yi Cheng rubbed my fluffy head and chuckled softly. But Mao Mao, your tail is wagging. What a promising one. How did you end up running away from home? 11. It was late at night, and I tried to leave again. However, the same scenario played out again. The only difference was that this time, before I fell asleep, I was holding the small cake Yi Cheng made during the day. And so, I fought and lost repeatedly, yet I kept fighting. During the day, I was a dog, and at night, I was a human, living in Yi Cheng's house for a full 2 weeks. On this day, guests arrived at the house. Through the crack in the door, I saw a handsome face that was no less impressive than Yi Cheng's. I was overjoyed, wagging my tail like a helicopter. Just as I was about to greet them, Yi Cheng kicked his long legs and locked me and the guest outside. What is this? Closing the door and letting the dog out. The handsome guy casually leaned against the door and shouted inside, is this your way of hosting guests? It was quiet on the other side of the door. Being attracted to looks, I circled around the handsome guy twice and rubbed against his pant leg. The handsome guy noticed me, bent down, and rubbed my head. Yo, when did Yi Cheng get a dog? I couldn't help but grin. So handsome, so cool, I love it. Heh, quite cute, want to go home with your brother? Before the words were finished, the door suddenly opened. Yi Cheng picked me up with one hand and was about to close the door when a handsome guy squeezed in through the gap. The handsome guy met Yi Cheng's cold gaze, unfazed, and plopped down on the sofa. I told you. It was just to get you to meet Luo Luo, why hold a grudge for so long? Yi Cheng. The handsome guy continued, oh, she bugged me for 3 months, insisting on meeting you, I really had no choice. Besides, with such a beautiful woman like Luo Luo, meeting her won't cost you anything. He Yao, don't think everyone is like you. Women are creatures that I would avoid. Yi Cheng was halfway through his sentence, when he suddenly looked at me with a complicated expression. Then he threw me to the ground like a hot potato. Ouch, my butt hurts. Someone is abusing their pet. I jumped onto He Yao's lap, whimpering for comfort. He Yao scratched my chin and glanced at Yi Cheng with a puzzled look. Aren't you the one who loves dogs the most? Why throw it? Exactly. I nodded angrily. Recently, Yi Cheng has been so hot and cold. He may not treat me well, but he still provides me with good food and drink, taking care of me gently. But if I say he treats me well, he will suddenly push me away during these moments when I am happily cuddling with him. No, it's during these happy moments of being close to him that he suddenly pushes me away. Okay, I can overlook all of this. The most unforgivable thing is that now he wraps himself up tightly every time he finishes showering. And he won't even let me get back into bed to sleep. How can someone be so wary of even a little dog? The dog feels wronged, but the dog doesn't say anything. Yi Cheng pursed his lips and did not answer He Yao's question. I was just pulled back from He Yao's arms. Spoiled. He complained with his mouth, but his large hand gently rubbed my bottom. I blushed. This is just because of the fur, otherwise I would have been exposed. 12. At dinner time, He Yao looked at me sitting in the dining chair like a human, wrapped in a bib. After hesitating for half a second, I finally said the words I had been holding back for a long time. Yi Cheng, you said you weren't interested in women, could it be because you like dogs? It's no wonder he thought that way. That afternoon, whenever He Yao wanted to touch me, he was always stopped by Yi Cheng. That posture is no different from a spilled jar of vinegar. I secretly blushed. Yi Cheng can't really like me, can he? But wait. I'm a dog. My half-wagging tail instantly drooped down. What a handsome guy, how can he be a pervert? Yi Cheng glanced at me sideways, taking in my reaction. He picked up He Yao's coat and threw it over him. Stop talking nonsense, eat your fill and get lost. This remark sounds harsh, but strangely, it carries a hint of laughter. He Yao was pushed out while still holding onto the chopsticks. Hey, I brought 2 bottles of good wine to drink with you. No, at least let me take the wine with me. In the dead of night. Yi Cheng had already gone to bed. I tiptoed to the edge of the table, staring at the 2 bottles of wine and licking my lips. Life has been too plain, it's time to add some seasoning. After a small drink, the 2 bottles of good wine that He Yao had been thinking about were already empty. I patted my belly contentedly and crawled onto Yi Cheng's bed using both hands and feet. In a daze, I found a source of warmth. Without thinking much, I squeezed over. In the moment of being pressed close, the muscles under my hand stiffened for a moment. 13. I stumbled and leaned into Yi Cheng's arms. I muttered in disgust, "TSK, so stiff." As soon as I finished speaking, I found the most comfortable position with ease and fell into a deep sleep. In my deep sleep, I turned over and almost fell off the bed. Suddenly, a large hand wrapped around my waist, and in an instant, I was back in that warm embrace. Yi Cheng had his eyes closed. His voice lazy. "Be good, don't move around." I regained some awareness. But I haven't fully recovered. Drunk people are the best at being sentimental and looking for trouble. As soon as I think about how I was treated as a human, I suddenly feel wronged. HMPH, only dogs get treated this well. With the courage that alcohol gives me, I rarely feel a rebellious spirit rising. You don't want me to move, huh? I'll move anyway. I'll move around a lot. Anyway, I'm a dog now, what can Yi Cheng do to me? Thinking this way, I started to nuzzle around in his arms even more vigorously. Paws also began to seek benefits for the eyes. Yi Cheng slowly opened his eyes, looking at me as I was tugging at his clothes, his voice a bit hoarse. "Woof, are you still sleeping?" I didn't realize the seriousness of the situation, and had no mind to answer his question. I stopped my movements, staring at the pair of lips in front of me. Swallowing hard. They look very kissable. Action is better than just feeling excited. I climbed onto his shoulder, tilted my head back, and gently pecked at that soft spot. In a daze, the breath coming towards me became hot and heavy. Suddenly, a thunderclap exploded outside the window. I jumped in fright, retreating like a turtle, burying my head back into his chest. Stealing a kiss from a handsome guy is wrong, but it shouldn't warrant divine punishment. As I was reflecting on this, a low, husky voice came from above my head. "Have you kissed enough?" I slowly looked at Yi Cheng, who was pinned beneath me. In his dark pupils, I saw my own reflection. I didn't realize it until I looked, and it startled me. It's a person. I belatedly realized the situation I was in. There was only one thought in my mind. Run. I quickly climbed off Yi Cheng, wobbling towards the door. Yi Cheng took 2 steps forward, grabbed me, and pulled me back. "Aren't you bringing some food this time?" "Wait, something seems off." 14. As I was trying hard to think about what was wrong, Yi Cheng pointed and lifted my chin, raising my head. "Don't you want to explain this to me?" As his fingertips brushed my chin, he inexplicably scratched it with his finger. And I, habitually tilted my head and rubbed against his palm. He was stunned for a moment, and I was also dumbfounded. What a disappointment. How did I become a dog and develop a professional illness? Yi Cheng was silent for a moment and then chuckled. His usually narrow eyes, hidden behind glasses, shed their disguise and flashed with a glimmer. Forget it. You don't need to explain. He picked me up and brought me back to the bed. He opened the bedside table and pulled out a piece of paper. Just sign this. I looked at the 4 characters, pet agreement, in the center of the paper and felt that life had become surreal. Is he addicted to raising me? As a modern woman, how could I possibly accept such a humiliating and disgraceful treaty? Just as I was about to protest, I saw him leisurely adjusting his gold-rimmed glasses back onto his nose. He took out a calculator and started tapping away. Ms. Woof Woof, you concealed your identity and moved into my home, consuming the contents of the refrigerator 3 times in 2 weeks, resulting in a total loss. I crawled out of bed. You brought me back and even cooked for me. He ignored me and continued typing. During the residence period, there were multiple instances of intimate contact with me, intending to plot something improper, causing me serious psychological trauma, mental damages. I couldn't sit still. At that time, I was a dog. Yi Cheng squinted. So I was just kissed by a dog. I quickly knelt back down, speaking the toughest words in the most cowardly posture. I can pay you back. Too much to say, installments are fine. But don't even think about making me sign this kind of thing. I disdainfully threw the paper away. Yi Cheng looked at the already toppled wine bottle on the table, muttering softly. I didn't hear clearly, just caught something about fake wine. He stroked his chin, pretending to think. Then he slowly revealed a wronged expression. His long eyelashes fluttered, as if they were scratching into my heart. Are you really not going to consider it? I swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Prohibit, no magical attacks. He whispered like a demon, being my pet not only doesn't cost you anything, but also comes with many benefits. The man in front of me unbuttoned one button with one hand. Under the moonlight, his delicate collarbone and faintly visible muscles seemed to say, "Dear guest, come play." This beauty trap struck my heart. I wiped my drool. Without saying a word, I picked up the pen. I signed the name, Wang Mao Mao, on the pet agreement. Yi Cheng seemed to have anticipated my decision. He smiled, reset the computer, and tossed it aside. As soon as I finished writing the character, he raised his hand and took the paper away. Then he raised his hand and rebuttoned his shirt. I got anxious and rushed over to stop his despicable act of burning bridges. As soon as I reached out my hand, he grabbed it with his other hand. I'm going to sleep now, you can sleep on the sofa. After saying that, he gently pulled me and sent me off the bed. I wrapped myself in a blanket and sulked on the sofa. Pity the man. Bad luck for a while. Trust the man, bad luck for a lifetime. 15. The next morning, I basked in the sunlight. With a messy hairdo, I sat dazed on the bed. How did I end up on the bed? No, how am I sitting? Yi Cheng came out of the kitchen with breakfast and was also stunned when he saw me. He placed the plate on the table and quickly walked to the side of the bed. Still not back to normal. Is there a malfunction? As he spoke, he raised his hand and pinched my face. I grabbed Yi Cheng and leaned in, using his eyes as a mirror. Unexpectedly, I saw my beautiful face. I really turned back into a human. Yi Cheng smiled, seemingly lost in thought, and turned to sit at the dining table. Aren't you going to wash up? Breakfast will get cold soon. I was momentarily confused and nodded blankly. Oh. There's a new toothbrush in the cabinet next to the sink, just open it yourself. I stood in the bathroom, looking at the brand new toothbrush in my hand. Pink. My already confused brain became even more chaotic. He can't really be a pervert, can he? After washing up, I sat across from Yi Cheng. It's been a long time since I ate in human form, and I'm really not quite used to it. As I poked the fried egg with a fork, I secretly glanced at Yi Cheng. If you keep looking, it will go up your nose. He suddenly spoke up. I quickly lowered my head, but before long, my gaze couldn't help but drift back. Well, I didn't turn into a dog. Yeah, I'm not blind. Aren't you shocked, curious, or want to know why I turned into a dog and why I turned back? Oh, why? I looked at his nonchalant expression and felt a wave of frustration. He probably doesn't really want to know, right? It feels more like he's just playing with me. I angrily took a bite of the fried egg and said, I won't tell you. He suddenly chuckled softly, coaxing me with a gentle voice. There's still bacon rolls in the pot. I'll go get them. You can eat while telling me, okay? Damn it, he's too good at this. I simply can't refuse. By the time I finished all the bacon rolls on my plate, I had also just finished telling the whole transformation process. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed over his chest. So you think that thunder is the key to controlling your transformation? I nodded. Otherwise, it really doesn't make sense that I suddenly turn back into a human. But it thundered a week ago, and you didn't turn back. That's true. I fell into distress again. Yi Cheng stared at my lips, deep in thought. I might know. I quickly pulled out the chair next to Yi Cheng and sat down. What is it? Tell me more. Yi Cheng smiled and lightly tapped my forehead. Think about it slowly yourself. By the way, come with me to meet someone later. Who is it? Chen Luo Luo. 16. In the cafe, I stirred my coffee a bit awkwardly. Who is she? The girl across from me stared wide-eyed and pointed at me. Yi Cheng calmly took a sip of his coffee. Someone who lives with me. In terms of figure and looks, how can she compare to me? What right does she have to live with you? I was unhappy and puffed out my chest. After looking at her, I shrank back. The momentum weakened by half. I am cute. Chen Luo Luo pouted and sized me up for a while, then nodded, indeed. Should the plot develop like this? Yi Cheng suppressed a laugh and said seriously, in any case, you've met the person now, so don't keep asking to see me in the future. After saying that, he got up to settle the bill. Luo Luo wilted, on the verge of tears. I felt a bit reluctant. She was still quite cute. Hey, don't cry. She pouted. You really live with Yi Cheng, huh? I nodded. Luo Luo shook her head. Woo woo. I don't believe it. Really? He cooks for me every day and plays with me. This is all true. Luo Luo was unwilling to accept, but these are all very ordinary things. Yi Cheng just finished paying the bill, and, hearing Chen Luo Luo's rebuttal, casually added a comment. I even helped her take a bath and slept on the same bed. Luo Luo. My face turned red from my ears to my neck in an instant. 17. After leaving the cafe, Yi Cheng and I walked side by side on the street. The wind blowing towards me couldn't cool down my monkey butt face. Why are you talking nonsense? Yi Cheng raised an eyebrow. Did I say something wrong? I never realized before how shameless this person is. I raised my hand to fan my face. I was Mao Mao back then. Wait a minute. Mao Mao. My scattered thoughts instantly fell back into place. How could I forget about Mao Mao? I've turned back, but where did Mao Mao go? I panicked and was about to run home. Yi Cheng grabbed my hand. Get in the car, I'll take you back. All the way, Yi Cheng's hand never let go. My heart miraculously settled down. After getting off the car, I pulled him and started running home. We bumped into the sisters who used to walk dogs together. Hey, little Wang, long time no see. Dr. Yi. I didn't stop my pace and hurriedly ran past. I have something to do, let's talk next time. In contrast, Yi Cheng seemed much more at ease. He walked beside me with long strides, even having the leisure to nod at my dog-walking sisters. Behind us, I heard the sisters crying tears of joy. Dr. Yi nodded at me. Woo woo woo, he has me in his heart. After exiting the elevator, we just approached the security door. I heard Mao Mao's cheerful humming sound from inside. I quickly pressed the password and rushed into the house. Holding Mao Mao with teary eyes, Mommy's big boy. You're really home. Mao Mao excitedly flailed in my arms, wildly licking my face with his tongue. I glanced up and saw Yi Cheng standing by the door, and my legs kicked out. He left me without a second thought. I watched as Mao Mao bounced around Yi Cheng, jumping up and down. My heart sank for a moment. That look was even more affectionate than when he saw me. After a warm welcome, Yi Cheng finally had time to admire my little house. Until his gaze landed on a corner of the sofa. I looked over and saw the strawberry-patterned panties lying there brightly. I ran over in a panic to gather the clothes. You sit down first. I'll go get you something to drink. No need, I'm leaving now. The heart that was originally leaping suddenly sank. I walked Yi Cheng to the door. I couldn't help but grab the corner of his clothes. Now that I've turned back into a human, does that mean the contract is void? Clearly. It was a contract I was tricked into signing. So why do I feel reluctant now? I tightened my grip on the corner of the clothes in my hand. Suddenly felt a bit of warmth in my eyes. Will I have no relationship with him anymore in the future? 18. A low, husky laugh sounded above my head. It seems you forgot that you signed the words woof, fur, fur. I stared blankly and raised my head, Yi Cheng looked at my face and subtly furrowed his brow. Woof fur, you don't think that just because you returned home, you're free, do you? As he spoke, he leaned down. He wiped away the tears that were about to fall from my eyelashes with his thumb. His warm breath made my face turn bright red. Stop dreaming, after raising you for so long. You can't run away. His voice was very low, slow. Each word was pronounced clearly, as if it had a deeper meaning. It took me a long time to find my voice, which was as small as a mosquito's buzz. But you said you wanted to leave. Didn't someone say at breakfast that they wanted sweet and sour spare ribs for lunch? There are no spare ribs at home. It turned out he was going to buy groceries to cook. Thinking about the golden beans I just dropped, I was so embarrassed that I turned red from head to toe, wishing I could dig a hole and hide in it. Come over for dinner in an hour. Yi Cheng looked down at my hand gripping the corner of his shirt. You remember the way home, right? I let go of his hand, patted my chest, and grinned. I won't forget. Yi Cheng raised an eyebrow, said nothing more, and turned to leave. As soon as he left, the aunt from the opposite door poked her head out with a smile. Little Wang, it's been a while. Have you got a boyfriend? That young man is so tall and handsome. You two must still be in the honeymoon phase, right? So lovey-dovey. Coming home feels like a parting of life and death. Why didn't you kiss him before he left? Back in the day, my husband wouldn't let me go. Ha ha ha, yes. I have something to do, so I'll head in first. Goodbye, Auntie. I awkwardly greeted the aunt and hurriedly turned back into the house. Leaning against the door, I was lost in thought. Are you a couple? Me and Yi Cheng. 19. An hour later, I rang the doorbell at Yi Cheng's house. A fluffy dog was wagging its tail by my feet. Yi Cheng opened the door and hurried into the kitchen. Don't you know the password? Just come in next time. I stood at the door, feeling a bit at a loss. Now I am almost as familiar with Yi Cheng's house as my own. But just thinking about what the aunt across the door said makes me feel awkward, whether standing or sitting. Seeing that I hadn't moved for a long time, Yi Cheng came out to check on me. What are you standing there for? Go watch TV and wait for dinner. What's with this strange sense of déjà vu in this couple's daily life? I blushed and slipped into the kitchen. I might as well help out. Yi Cheng, with his eyes down, was stir-frying ribs and chuckled lightly at my words. Don't cause trouble, just watch from the doorway. I watched the man in front of me, broad-shouldered and long-legged, wearing an apron and concentrating on cooking my favorite dish. I should have found it ridiculous and out of place, but inside, I was strangely bubbling with joy. I couldn't help but ask, "Why are you so nice to me?" He clearly used to dislike me. Yi Cheng paused his plating and glanced at me sideways. "Aren't you my pet?" "Yes. I am just his pet." This answer was already within my expectations. But why do I feel so down? Mao Mao smelled the fragrance, and also approached the kitchen door. I stared at Mao Mao, lost in thought. "If you really like keeping pets so much, I can buy you another dog." Yi Cheng lowered his eyes and walked past me with the dishes. The cold voice was exactly the same as when I first met him. "No, eat." At the dining table, I lowered my head, feeling gloomy. I didn't even have an appetite for my favorite sweet and sour spare ribs. Yi Cheng picked up some vegetables and put them in my bowl. "Why aren't you eating? Is it not good?" I shook my head. No matter how delicious it is, this dish ultimately doesn't belong to me. Just like the person in front of me, who is so attractive. I suddenly thought of a quote by Eileen Chang in a poetic way. "The moon in the water is the moon in the sky. The person in front of me is the one in my heart. The person in front of me. Is he the one I love? Have I really fallen for Yi Cheng? Woof. Wake up. Having a handsome guy take care of you like this is already a huge blessing. But I can't be greedy." Yi Cheng doesn't seem to be in a good mood either. After a long silence, he finally started to say something to me. However, I was lost in self-encouragement and didn't hear clearly. After dinner, I made an excuse that I needed to go back to handle some work. Yi Cheng had a cold expression as he sent me back home. This time, we didn't act all lovey-dovey like a young couple. I suppressed my reluctance, simply said goodbye, and turned back to enter the house. I thought I could adjust my heart to be a well-behaved pet. But soon, I realized I was wrong. I hadn't seen Yi Cheng for a whole week. When I went to his house, only the renovation team was busy. He couldn't have moved, could he? 20. Life still has to go on. I returned to my previous calm life. Eat, sleep. Record vlogs. But now there is an additional activity every day, thinking of Yi Cheng. On this day, I was pondering whether I had been abandoned. The phone rang. An unfamiliar number. Could it be Yi Cheng? I answered the call with excitement. Chen Luoluo's voice came through the receiver. "Guess who I am?" I wiped my nose, my voice muffled. "Chen Luoluo, how did you get my phone number? How did you know it was me?" "Oh, it doesn't matter, come down quickly, let's go out and play." I never dreamed that one day I would go to the amusement park with Chen Luoluo and He Yao. They are practically strangers to me. I still can't figure out how they knew my phone number and address. Then I was pulled onto the roller coaster. After a few rides, not only did we hit it off, but my previously gloomy mood was also completely lifted. We three sat side by side on a bench, each holding an ice cream. "I've heard Yi Cheng mention you a lot, and finally, I get to see the real person this time." He Yao winked at me. "Did you know that Yi Cheng has a dog named Mao Mao?" I know it all too well. That's the one." Chen Luoluo disdainfully elbowed He Yao. "Is there no internet in your village? They've been living together, how could you not know?" He Yao glanced at me with a mischievous smile. "TSK, Yi Cheng, this iron tree that never speaks, has suddenly bloomed." "What kind of flower?" "It's all withered, okay." My somewhat good mood sank again. "It's not what you think, we don't have any relationship now." Chen Luoluo jumped up from her chair. "No relationship? Does that mean I can pursue Yi Cheng again?" He Yao pulled Chen Luoluo back to the bench. "Calm down for a bit." After saying that, he looked me over and raised an eyebrow, asking, "Yi Cheng hasn't contacted you?" I shook my head. He asked again. "Do you know what he's up to?" I shook my head again. I didn't want to talk about that person anymore, so I pulled Chen Luoluo to continue riding the roller coaster. This time, Yao did not play with us. He is downstairs, not knowing who he is on the phone with. During the roller coaster ride, Chen Luoluo suddenly remembered something and shouted. No way. It was Yi Cheng who asked us to find you. Are you lying to me? I was busy screaming chaotically in the wind. What are you saying? 21. When Yao and Chen Luoluo took me home, it was already dark. A few flashes of white light passed through the rolling clouds. The front wheels of the car moved, and the rain fell right after. I wanted to run, but my legs had no strength at all. Just directly went for a walk in the rain. Speaking of which, the first time I met Yi Cheng was also in such weather. I was lost in thought when I bumped into a wall of flesh. Woof. Are you addicted to getting rained on? The person I hadn't seen for a long time stood in front of me. Holding the umbrella over my head, there was a hint of hostility in his brows and eyes. I couldn't help but laugh. You finally showed up. When I smiled, his cold, handsome face softened. Didn't I tell you I have a seminar, and will be out of town for half a month? When? Yi Cheng helplessly said, when eating sweet and sour ribs. Don't you call to ask where I went? How can he still say that? I don't have your number. Didn't I call you and ask you to save it? When? Yi Cheng couldn't help but laugh in anger, when I was eating sweet and sour ribs. I lowered my head in guilt. The teacher had already said not to get distracted. See, the consequences of getting distracted are so severe. Yi Cheng put his arm around my shoulder and led me into the building. In the elevator, I suddenly thought of the turning point. Since you have my phone number, why haven't you called me for so long? This time, it was Yi Cheng's turn to be silent. He brought me back home again. I stopped as soon as I entered, shocked and gesturing wildly. Why are there so many walls now? I liked it open when I lived alone, but later I thought it would be more convenient to have a bedroom. Convenient for what? Ignoring my question, Yi Cheng pushed me into the bathroom. The new towel is in the cabinet, get it yourself. I felt a bit embarrassed looking at Yi Cheng, who was even more drenched than I was. You should wash first. He suddenly laughed. Wang Mao Mao, if you keep dawdling, I will personally help you wash. I felt my face turn red, and I pushed him out the door. I rummaged through the cabinet for an unopened bath towel. Looking at that pink color. Suddenly, I felt like there were many things I hadn't figured out. 22. When Yi Cheng came out after washing up, I was sitting on the sofa, trying hard to organize all the questions I wanted to ask. However, seeing his slightly open collar, all my questions flew away. I couldn't help but lick my lips. Is this what pet welfare is? Yi Cheng saw my dazed gaze and smiled. He walked over and picked up a towel to help dry my hair. Wipe your drool, and ask whatever you want to ask first. I was distracted, staring at the pink towel hanging in front of me, and randomly asked, toothbrush, bath towel, towel, are all these prepared for me? Yes, and also slippers, a water cup. I listened as he counted all the things in the house that I would use, and a smile crept onto my lips. A cluster of small flowers slowly grew in my heart, quietly blooming. Didn't you say the seminar would last for half a month? Why are you back today? Because I received a call. My good brother said that a certain idiot was unhappy. Well, I am that idiot. So it was you who sent them to find me. Did you give them my phone number too? But why do you have my phone number? On the pet hospital information sheet, Yi Cheng took a deep breath, gritting his teeth. Woof, fur, are you focusing on the wrong point? Before I could answer, he continued. Didn't you ask me in the elevator why I didn't contact you? Because I feel that since you don't want to be my pet, I shouldn't keep you tied down. I couldn't help but correct him. I don't want to be your pet because. He stopped the action of drying my hair. Woof fur, would you like to be my girlfriend? I'm willing. I jumped up from the sofa with a smile and bounced onto him. Yi Cheng caught me and laughed silently. His peach blossom eyes were filled with tenderness, like a jar of aged wine. Intoxicating and dizzying. His lips slowly approached. I obediently closed my eyes. However, after waiting for a long time, I still didn't feel the warm touch. I couldn't help but open my eyes a crack. I saw him frowning at the lightning and thunder outside the window. Not today. Why not? Are you here for your aunt's husband? Woof, fur, fur. Outside the window, a storm rages. Inside the room, the sounds of playful scuffles are filled with affection. Why can't it be done? A man can't say no, do you know that? I clung to Yi Cheng's neck, trying hard to get closer. Give me a kiss. Yi Cheng's forehead twitched. Woof fur, I command you to get down. I am your girlfriend now, not your pet, you can't command me. Thinking of that pet contract, I suddenly realized I had overlooked a big issue. Yi Cheng, when did you find out I was Woof fur? Yi Cheng raised an eyebrow, answering with something irrelevant. Woof fur, you forgot to feed fur. Oh no. Why didn't you remind me earlier? I jumped off him and rushed outside in a panic. Yi Cheng smiled and picked up the umbrella to follow me. Many years later, I still haven't found the answer to that question. But what does it matter? Actually, the answer has long been hidden in every piece of strawberry cake.